Mhm. The malicious prosecution? Yes. Abusive process? Mhm. The thought, yes, that every person who shall maliciously and without probable cause, therefore, yeah, cause or attempt to cause another to be arrested or proceeded against, yes, for any dissolution of marriage, yes, where you accuse the respondent of domestic violence, child abuse, mm, neglect, yeah, abandonment, assault, and what's it called again? Sexual offenses. Yes. These problems, known as the dissolution of marriage, yes, where the court took it upon themselves to believe every word that my wife said, yes, because she wrote down that I trapped her in a hotel room, that I thought that there might be some technology, yes. Now, let's say she got new teeth. Could you get me the dental implants of all those that I'm going to sue? Yes. And then, do they have any biochips that you can implant in an individual? Yes. That could cause some sort of effect on their thoughts. Yeah. And then there's what's known as sex puppet programming. Yes. Look-alike programming. Now, I think that Marilyn is not Susan Bowers. I'm almost sure of it. Yes. Yes, she is. And then looking at a picture of Meryl Lee with Mike Van Proyen on Meryl Lynn's Facebook profile. Yeah. I don't think that's Marilyn. Now you'd say I'm delusional. Yes. For thinking, yes, that you could have look-alike employees of the United States government. Yeah. Now, cause or attempt to cause another to be arrested. Let's say I wasn't in Squim, and you used a fake victim. Yes. A fake perpetrator. Yeah. Fake law enforcement. Yes. And a fake court system. Oh, now, I would say the court is legally liable for having me prosecuted, yes, arrested or proceeded against, yeah, without any probable cause. I was not in Squim, Washington. Yeah. Now, I would say that the court, when issuing a dissolution of marriage, yeah, and taking into account what the petitioner had said, is causing me to be proceeded against for any problem that the parenting plan defines. Now let's look at it again. I inform you that my sons are kidnapped. Yes. You decide to make up fake crimes with a fake victim. Yeah. A fake perpetrator in a fake county. Yes. Using fake sheriffs and fake police officers. Yes. That refuse to exonerate the accused. Yes. Because of the fake documentation of the third word delusions. Yes. Of my wife. And for some reason, you never give me notice of court hearing. Right. You don't give me a dissolution of marriage. No. You do absolutely think that you can dissolve a United Nations marriage. Yes. And then when I inform you that you can't, yes, you don't prove me wrong. Mm-mm. You don't even talk to me. Now, irretrievable. Oh, best parenting plan is full faith and credit of every state. Yeah. Now, the Washington State Sheriff's and Police Departments, yes, policy of the OIDV final. This is their individual policy. Yeah. Now, the purpose of this policy is to establish clear procedural protocol and actions for investigating, reporting, and responding to domestic violence involving agency employees and law enforcement officers from other agencies and to thereby discourage and reduce acts of domestic violence by sworn law enforcement employees. I gave you the definition of the sworn law enforcement employee. Yeah, you actually don't fit the actual defined law enforcement employees. Yes. Now, public confidence in law enforcement is important to our ability to maintain public safety. The public must trust that law enforcement employees are held to the standards of the law regarding domestic violence. Yeah. Therefore, the agency will promptly respond to allegations of domestic violence by an employee according to this policy and all applicable laws. Yes. Give primary consideration, yes, to the protection of the victim of domestic violence and enforcement of the laws. Yep. Respect the due process rights of all employees, according to applicable legal precedent and collective bargaining agreements. Yes. Now, this due process rights of myself as a respondent, think of malicious prosecution, for the accusation of domestic violence, child abuse, yes, neglect, abandonment, yes, and sexual offenses. Now, when you don't give me notice of court hearing so that I can admit to the court, yes. When you don't have me on video and audio before issuing a dissolution of marriage, yes. The standard of law enforcement is not being enforced for those that are citizens, yes. And for those of you that have been paying taxes because you feel some compulsion to do that, yes. As if you'd get audited, right? You could possibly go to tax prison for not doing it. The IRS cannot receive your taxation when they have knowledge of you refusing, yes, to enforce the laws. They don't have any legal right to the taxation that you paid. Yes, that's why I'm suing them. Oh, now expeditiously report and conduct thorough investigations, into any allegation of a law enforcement employee involved in domestic violence. Yes. And then train employees and seek to educate their families about intimate violence and avenues for assistance. Yes. Now, domestic violence is defined as RCW 10.99. Yes. Domestic dispute, oops, another definition, 10.99.0203, where there's no criminal action. Now, it's not like I can have a domestic dispute, yes, where I called my wife a CUNT. No, you can't. See, it's kind of like if any citizen were to accuse another citizen of domestic violence, yes, it says here that there is an obligation, or at least I did read, yes, that you have an obligation to arrest an individual and put him in jail. Yes. And your job as law enforcement is to evaluate which of the two are more than likely the cause of the domestic violence, right? But if you're in law enforcement, it could be a domestic dispute. Oh, is that right? Yeah. See, even if I was to call, yes, knowing that somebody was actually committing domestic violence, but they're in law enforcement, it's a domestic dispute. But when my wife calls, yes, and says I'm in Squim, it's domestic violence. When my wife calls and I'm in Jefferson County, yes, it's domestic violence. Oh, now when we look at the difference between domestic violence and domestic dispute, ooh, where there was no criminal action, yes. Now a lot of police officers they use profanity, yeah. Now, pre-hire, provide education employees, provide information to domestic violence policy employees, victims of domestic violence by agency and an agency a point of contact to assist the victim through the investigative process. Provide victims of domestic violence by agency employees contact information about public and private nonprofit domestic violence services. Yes. Now, you would say I wasn't a victim of domestic violence. You can't call the police and say, well, he hit me. Yeah. I squeezed her arm. Oops, I squeezed her hand. What is the difference? Can you, as a police officer, call your wife a CUNT without it being considered domestic violence? Oh, well, or is it a domestic dispute? Yeah. Now, just looking at it, employee actions, yes. You don't see a whole lot about prosecution in this. No, no, you don't. See, it's kind of understood that if you're in law enforcement, you really don't have any domestic violence problems. Yes. But incident response, yes. A prompt response, a full investigation, a complete written report by this agency, yeah. Notification of the employing agency. Now, I inform you on November 15th of 2015, yeah. I got no response from law enforcement. Yes. What I got was an arrest, yes, for the accusation of being in swim. Yep. I didn't get any full investigation of exactly why it was that my wife said what she said. No, I didn't get a complete written report by the sheriff's departments, the police departments, or the judiciary. No. It's almost like you have to be employed in law enforcement to be able to not be prosecuted, yes, to have all the benefits, yes, of being a victim, yes, without prosecution, yes, because you have a little dispute. I mean, after 10 years of marriage to a cop, how many times did you think you'd call your husband a bitch? Such a bitch. Now, I didn't get any photographs of the crime scene. Oh, it couldn't have been a dispute. What's that?